Hey there, scrappers, recyclers, and refiners. Moose here again, and this video is going to be the first video to kick off my gold refining month, or gold recovery month. So the first thing I want to mention to you folks is I'm not a chemist. I'm not a professional. I don't... This is a hobby for me. So most of the questions you have, I may not be able to answer. I'll just refer you over to the Gold Refining Forum or to other YouTubers who really know their stuff, like Geo, Indeeditdoes, Metalsmith, Original Feats even. If I don't have a video on a process that you're interested in, chances are I don't know enough about that process to answer any of your questions about it, like reverse electroplating, using aqua regia, that kind of stuff. I've never done them. I don't use nitric acid, so I can't really help you. Alright, so let's talk really quickly about some of the different recovery processes that I know about. The first one is the acid peroxide, or AP method. This is the most, I think this is the best beginner level recovery process for people to try after they've done lots of research, of course. I have so many people who've tried this and sent me comments saying, well, I did it and now I've got brown goo. Well, if you did it according to the directions, you wouldn't have brown goo. So it's one of those, it's very, very easy to do. It does take a little bit of time to process, at least a few days for all the gold to come off the foils. It's basically for anything, the acid peroxide method is for removing gold foils from a board. So what it does is it eats up the copper and nickel layer that's holding the gold to the board, and then just lets the gold float around in the solution. Now, this can be done on gold fingers, which are these things that are pulled off of RAM sticks and PCI cards and stuff. You can also use it on cell phone boards if they've been cleaned, and by clean I mean all the components and solder taken off of them. You can use it on any board that has gold foil attached to it, as long as the board is clean. Now, you also want to process everything separately. You want to process fingers separately from, say, gold-plated pins, which you can also use. This Original Feats has a lot of videos on processing gold pins using acid peroxide, where he just shoves it all in a Coke bottle, shakes it up, every few hours or so, and in a few days, or a couple days, he has nothing but gold foils floating around, and that's perfectly acceptable. Now, with acid peroxide, there's a few things that you need to keep in mind with acid peroxide. One gallon of AP can hold about 2 pounds of base metal. So that's copper, brass, whatever is underneath the gold foil. So make sure that when you're processing, like if you're doing gold-plated pins, make sure you don't put more than 2 pounds of pins in 1 gallon of AP. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck with a lot of pins that still have gold plating on them. Too much peroxide can cause some of the gold to dissolve into solution. You don't want that. Warming the solution slightly may decrease the reaction time. This process can take days to complete. Your solution can be restored by putting a little piece of stainless steel into the acid peroxide after you're done recovering gold foils. And what'll happen is it'll pull the copper out of the solution. It'll cement to the piece of stainless steel. Then you can just pull it out and clean it off and sell the copper or scrap it, whatever you want with it. The best ratio of chemicals to use for this is HCl 75% of the solution, and then peroxide you want to use 25%. So not peroxide 25%. What I mean by that is 3 parts HCl, 1 part peroxide. So if you have 100 milliliters, you want 75 milliliters to be hydrogen, 75 milliliters to be HCl, and 25 to be peroxide. If gold does get into the solution, and you want to make sure before you discard any solutions that you test it with stannous chloride to make sure there's no gold left in it. That's a place where a lot of people tend to lose a good portion of gold. So if gold does get into the solution, all you got to do is take a chunk of copper, pure copper, like a piece of copper pipe, throw it in the solution, leave it there for a couple of days, and what's going to happen is the solution is going to supersaturate with copper, causing the gold to drop out as black powder. Okay, then you can filter it and process it just fine. Stick the stainless steel in there to pull the copper out, and your AP is rejuvenated a bit. You can dispose of by adding urea to neutralize and evaporating, so all you're left are like metal salts are left. Contact your local municipality or local waste disposal area to see how they process chemicals, what they charge, that sort of thing. And keep in mind that with the AP method, the fumes, if you're not using the safer muriatic acid, the fumes can start to corrode things around it, like metal things. In my last place, I had some wrenches on the wall, and after just a couple of hours, the wrenches were already starting to corrode. So you want to make sure you do this outside, away from everything. HCl and bleach, what is that used for? Well, that is a refining method. The best combination with that is about 80% HCl and 20% of the solution to be bleach. So 8 parts HCl, 2 parts bleach. What this does is it dissolves the gold into solution. The fumes are very toxic. It's chlorine gas, which was used as a chemical warfare agent back in World War I. So make sure you do not breathe this. Use a respirator, be upwind, have a fan blowing that crap away from you. Okay, you need to take this stuff very seriously. The good thing about this method is it works very fast. The gold will dissolve in just a few seconds. If it starts to slow down a little bit, just add a little bit more bleach. Try not to add too much bleach, though, because you're just making more chlorine gas and diluting the solution. The solution is used to purify gold. What people do is they'll dissolve the gold into the solution and then precipitate it out with sodium metabisulfite. Typically, it's about 2 to 3 grams of sodium metabisulfite per gram of gold you have in solution. Of course, when you're refining electronics, a lot of times it's kind of difficult to know how much gold you have in there, but if you do know, that's roughly the ratio you want to use. So what you do, you dissolve all your gold in this, then you get your sodium metabisulfite. And keep in mind that 100 milliliters or 600 milliliters of auric chloride, I guess is what it's called, when you have gold in solution, can hold several ounces of gold. So, try not to recover gold from a couple of plates and then try to precipitate. You're not going to see any reaction because there's hardly any gold left, or hardly any gold in there. So you want to make sure that you keep it in a bottle somewhere, keep it safe, and just keep reusing it until you think that it's really, really saturated solution. Then try and precipitate. I'll get a video on that down. I'll put a link to it in the description, and I'm also going to be making another video because my last one wasn't that great. Alright, so there are other processes out there that I know barely anything about. Reverse electroplating is used for gold and silver. Aqua regia is the gold standard chemical process for recovering gold, however it involves nitric acid, which freaks me out, so I don't use it. Silver recovery, way less profitable. It's like $20 per ounce as opposed to gold, which is like $1,100 an ounce right now. So it's much less profitable, but it can be easier. The silver that I do is I recover, but I don't refine. Refining requires nitric acid. Recovery, you can do that with AP, and that's pretty much it. For the most part, it'll take off any excess metal. You're left with whatever purity of silver you had to begin with. It could be 80%, it could be 0.925, whatever. But the AP will get rid of the base metals around it. Alright, so I think that's it. Keep watching this month. I'm going to have a whole bunch of other gold recovery and refining videos that I want you to check out this week. I'm going to be coming out. I've already filmed 4 other videos that are ready to go. So comment, like, subscribe. See you on the next one.